Your favorite and you always wanted me around. Now I'm just torn in pieces, my heart is on the ground.
I always loved libraries, the quiet of them, the smell of the plastic covers and the paper, and the tables and the silence of them. The silence of them that if you listened wasn't silence. It was the murmur of the stories held for years on shelves, and the soft clicking of the date stamp, the soft clickety-clicking of the date stamp. I used to go down to our little library on a Friday night in late summer, just as autumn was thinking about turning up, and the light outside would be the colour of an Everyman cover. And the lights in the library would be soft as anything, and I'd sit at a table and flick through a book and fall in love with the turning of the leaves, the turning of the leaves. And then at 7 o'clock, Mrs. Dove would say, in a voice that wasn't too loud, so it wouldn't disturb the books, 7 o'clock, please. And as I was the only one in the library's late summer rooms, I would be the only one to stand up and close my book and put it back on the shelf with a sound like a kiss. Back on the shelf with a sound like a kiss.
And I'd go out of the library and Mrs. Dove would stand for a moment silhouetted by the adult fiction, and then she would turn the light off and lock the door and go to her little car and drive off into the night that was slowly turning the colour of ink. And I would stand for 2 minutes, and then I'd walk over to the dark library and just stand in front of the dark library.
I've not coloured yet, not coloured yet. I've not coloured yet. No, I don't want to colour inside the lines.
The role we have in the library is class visits for children. They come here regularly, groups of children. Sometimes it's the only time some of these children ever get to visit a library. We tell them about the history of the library, but also they get to have fun hearing stories from wonderful librarians.
The thing that greatly concerns me about libraries is that their availability and accessibility to anybody who wants to come in and use them is a really very important thing. You can come in and use the computers, the internet, if you want to. There's all sorts of other things here. I've just discovered this morning that there are games for Wii's and PS3s. I don't know about those things because I don't actually have the kit to use them. But to be able to come and borrow all that kind of thing as well, it's not just a sort of fuddy-duddy image of only dusty books and a fusty atmosphere and being shushed all the time. This noise you can probably hear in the background. There's talking going on. People are talking to each other, and there's a group of children in the children's section. Goodness knows what they're doing, storytelling or something like that probably. There's just so many things that are going on, and access to information and education, and we lose that at our peril. You don't only learn from books, you also learn from local artefacts, and a huge amount of the artefacts in the museum have actually been given by local people. So there is a community buy-in to that already, if you like, and things that should be kept and should be looked after for the community, so that you can come and look at things, you can come and study things. We have incredible access to some of these artefacts and people just don't know about it, which is one of the problems perhaps. But we really have got some incredible things here, and you can go and find out about them, you can talk about them, you can research them. It's heartbreaking, actually. It's heartbreaking.
This is one of the projects I've been proudest of. It's books on prescription. We've worked quite closely with some GPs, and we got charity funding to buy these books. And they're all self-help books, cognitive behavioural therapy books for people with mental health issues. They cover things like depression, low self-esteem, anxiety. They're borrowed a lot. We've got them in all of our libraries. And we're starting to develop this collection because it's become national now. There's a new project beginning in July, and we've bought all the books for it. And it's called Reading Well. We've had some brilliant quotes from people that have found this very useful, particularly a woman who lost her daughter and was very grief-stricken. She came across this in the library and she wrote this beautiful piece saying how much it had helped her, how it was really important that she understood that grief was a process and she wasn't going mad and she shouldn't be taking Prozac.
This increasing privatisation, and basically you can have it if you can afford to pay for it. Well, actually, there are quite a lot of the people in the county who probably can't afford to pay for some of these things. So we're automatically shutting them off from any opportunity to access those things and to educate themselves, improve themselves. You know, the great Victorian move towards self-improvement. That's what a lot of these things, libraries and museums, were born from. Let's remember that.
I always like to support libraries because, you know, we need libraries, and because Hereford's libraries are seriously in danger while the council spends its money on rather less essential things.
The new library sited in the Master's House is exactly what Ledbury's been asking for the last 15 years. The only disappointment is that it took us so much longer than we hoped it would to convince the council that that was the right thing to do. But now that it's there, it's a brilliant resource and so many people are grateful, and because of its disabled access it means that many people who weren't able to get into the old building can get into this one now. We're hugely supportive of the continuation of the library service across Herefordshire, whether it's for young people, whether it's to support people looking for employment, whether it's to provide the kind of speaking books and large print books that older people need to remain mentally stimulated, active and interested in the world. Libraries are a tremendous resource and they are a statutory requirement for the county to provide. The kind of suggestions that were being made over the last year or so in terms of slimming the provision in Herefordshire down to either just be in the city or to create a central spine where you have better supported libraries in Ross in the south, Hereford in the centre and Leominster in the north, with people being asked to travel in east and west to access those services. Again, we don't think is the right way to go.